We strong.
DJ Tony Duck.
She gon' take care of her bitch, she truckin'. She a woman with a rig, she truckin'. She gon' take care of her kids, she truckin'. Yeah, she a boss, she do it big, she truckin'. She truckin'. She a boss, she do it big, she truckin'. She a woman with a rig, she truckin'. She truckin'.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Enjoying Life OTR. My name is Cindy Tunstall with the She Trucking Podcast, and I can't wait for this show. I am so excited. We have a fabulous guest to kick off our episode, and I can't wait for you to hear from her. Our guest today is Malinda Fox Wellington. She's one of the administrators and leaders on the She Trucking lead team, and she has so much wisdom and experience to share, and I know you're going to be just a great opportunity to meet with her. If you have questions for her, hop on the chat and put those in there, because she's got a lot of wisdom, and you're going to learn from her, and she's going to give us a lot of things to share to help make our journey better. She and I both have very different career paths in the trucking industry. I drive a 26-foot box truck, and I'm a newbie. I'm a baby in the industry. I've only been driving about 3.5 years. I drive OTR, and I absolutely love it. And I'm passionate about helping truckers to create a healthy work-life balance. And, to get time to get outside the truck, but also to manage our business and our trucking careers in a way that we can enjoy our downtime, enjoy our time with our family, and, get out of the truck and go do fun things. Many of us get to travel all over the nation, and we don't ever get out of the truck. We're just worn out, and we're just tired, and it just is a challenge. So I really advocate for that. I really love that for myself. I like to surround myself with people who have those same values. And our guest today, Malinda, is definitely one of those people. Our She Trucking Foundation, we're all about empowering women and minorities to enter the transportation industry, and not only enter, but thrive in the industry, make a good, successful career. And there's a lot of challenges we face. So we're going to be tackling a lot of those big challenges. We're going to sharing our wisdom and experience. We have so many great guests that are going to really give you some great information that's going to help you to succeed in your trucking career. Now, I don't know if you've been driving just a short time like me. I'm a baby in the industry. I've only been driving about 3.5 years. Or if you've been in the career of trucking for decades. This episode has so much for all of you. We're going to touch on all kinds of topics. So stay tuned. Share with us your friends. Tell them to join us in. If you missed a part of the show, come back and check it out later, because there's a lot of great things. So, well, without further ado, let me introduce our first guest, Malinda Fox Wellington. Welcome to the show, Malinda.
Hi, Cindy. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
I am thrilled. I'm thrilled that you're here. You have so much experience to share. That's your big rig back there. Tell everybody a little bit about what you're driving.
I'm actually an independent contractor. I lease my truck through Schneider Finance, and I drive a 53-foot box van.
And how long have you been in the industry?
Almost 5 years now.
Now, who is this we see coming in the screen? Tell us about your baby.
This is Tia. Actually, one of the main reasons why I decided to go IC is because the company I worked with wouldn't let me have a dog on the truck. And I've always been a dog person, and having one on the truck just completely changed the way I drive. And it's just, most days makes it so much better. So there's some days it makes it worse, but it's worth it.
Well, Malinda, I know that you have 25 years in the medical field, and then you transitioned to trucking. Can you tell us a little bit about your career that you had before you started trucking, and then how you made this transition? Because that's a pretty radical shift that you've made. Can you tell our audience a little bit about that transition?
Sure. Actually, I got into the medical field back in the 1990s. And I transitioned or grew through. I was a medical assistant. I was a combat medic in the Army. And then I taught medical assisting, phlebotomy, and EKG training. And then I became a director of the school. And I did that for a couple of years, and I was just like, being a director of a vocational school for medical assisting and everything, that's just not me. I wasn't happy chasing people, students down, getting payments and stuff. So I went back into the medical field, back into medical assisting. And my last job, I worked with family medicine practice, and it got bought out by a corporation, and it just, the passion wasn't there anymore because I couldn't spend time with the patients that I like to do and help them and talk to them and answer their questions. And I was to the point I was just coming home crying, and I was getting headaches to go to work. I was just full blown out
Yeah.
burnout. And so my husband, he's like, well, you got your Class A license. He goes, why don't you just go drive for a couple years and then decide what you want to do, if you want to stay in medical or just stay trucking, or, just to kind of figure it out, just to get out of that burnout phase. And 5 years later, I'm still driving.
Okay, Malinda, I want you to tell everybody the story about how you got your Class A, because I know when you got your Class A, it had nothing to do with trucking. Tell us that story.
So we had a fifth wheel RV toy hauler. The trailer was about 43 feet. And I kept asking my husband to teach me how to drive it, teach me how to drive it. And he's like, no, no, no. Well, we were coming back from a camping trip one time, and my husband had a kidney stone, and the poor guy was in a lot of pain. And, the loving, compassionate wife that we all can be, I was just like, this is why you need to teach me. I need to know how to drive this thing. And poor guy was in so much pain. He finally's like, I'm never going to teach you how to drive. And he's like, we're either going to get a divorce or kill each other. And I just like you too much for that. So about a week after that conversation, I happened to drive by a truck driving school, and I just whipped in and asked them, hey, do you have part-time classes? Because I still work. And I just want to learn how to drive my RV. I had my Class A license for over a year before I even thought about driving.
Wow, I love that. And then it's just so random that you ended up in the trucking industry.
Yeah.
I love it so much, and you love it. You're still doing it and thriving out here in the industry. So I'm gonna share a little bit about your career path, because you and I took very different career paths. So I'm gonna tell a little bit about my journey, how I got into trucking. Just because the sheep trucking community, they need to know my story as well. I drive a 26-foot box truck over the road, and I love it. I love to travel. I'm a travel junkie. My family was military, so I have military background. So I just feel like I have a little bit of that nomad in me, that gypsy, and I like to go, and I love to explore new places. But I would have never picked trucking. My story is kind of similar to yours. It kind of happened in a random way. I was doing a sales job, which I liked, but I wasn't making very much money. And, there wasn't really a growth path there for me. And I was ready to make some changes. This was back in 2019. And I was like, I got to do something else. And you know how you start dreaming about what you'd like to do in your next position. And, you pick out, I like this part of this and this part of that. Well, I was just still kind of toying around with all those things and putting my resume together. And I told God one day, I said, I'd really like to be my own boss. My next position, I would really like to be my own boss. And I didn't even know be my own boss of what. There was no big dream I was trying to fulfill. There was no entrepreneur spirit rising up in me. I just thought, that'd be nice. Well, the very next day, somebody presented me the idea of starting a trucking company. And I just said that prayer. I just said, I'd like to start. I'd like to be my own boss. And then the very next day, somebody presents the idea. So I was like, this is crazy. I mean, it's still crazy, right? It's a crazy idea. I didn't know anything about trucking. And so I just thought, well, I'm going to look into this, because maybe this is a thing, And so I started doing some research, and, I want to be my own boss. So I got my own authority. So I started a box truck company, and I found a friend in the area that I was doing it. And, so I had somebody that I could ask questions, of course, got familiar with the FMCSA website, and I started studying all the regulations. I'm like a person that likes to know how to do everything right. And I don't want to have to be stressed about, getting caught doing something funky. And, so I was really doing a lot of study. But after a few months of study, I thought, I could do this. And the rest is history. I've been driving and, making some mistakes along the way, but I really love the life, and I love being able to travel. And see the nation. What makes you enjoy the work so much, Malinda? What makes you stick with it? 5 years is a long time. So, what makes you love the work?
It's a variety of things. One and number one job perk for me is obviously just the nature, getting out, different parts of the country, working. Being in the military, I saw more of Iraq during deployments than I saw of my own country. So that was one motivating factor for sure. But I like going to the shippers, not knowing exactly, what challenge am I going to have to overcome to get this thing where it needs to be. And I, the trip planning, I love the trip planning and the researching. And I mean, just so many different facets of trucking as a driver just absolutely just fits with my personality.
I love it too. There's a lot of freedom, and I don't have somebody looking over my shoulder, and day
Hmm.
to day micromanaging the choices that I make. And I know there are some trucking companies that drivers experience some of that, but for the most part, we get to kind of choose our own path, and that's obviously very appealing for me.
Yeah,
Well,
pretty much as long as you make your appointments on time and you don't like burn a whole bunch of extra fuel, because you never did company, right? You just went
no,
straight into owner.
yeah,
I
yeah,
did the company path first, and as long as I stayed within 10% of the route. So if the route was supposed to be 500 miles, I had 550 miles
oh,
without getting into trouble.
okay.
And and as long as I made my appointments on time, they didn't care how I ran my clock. As long as I stayed safe, legal, and made my appointments, they left me alone. So that's what made it really nice.
Well, that sounds great, Melinda. We're going to go to commercial break in a minute, but I want to hear a little bit about more about your path, how you got into your own truck, and we're going to touch on that a little bit after this commercial break. So y'all stay tuned. Melinda's got a lot of great stuff to share, and I can't wait for you to hear it. Well, welcome back. I'm so excited to finish this conversation with Malinda. My guest is Malinda Fox Wellington. My name is Cindy Tunstall, and I'm your host. Malinda and I are both one of the lead team members of the She Trucking Facebook community. We have 30,000 women in that group, and there's a lot of activity that goes on there every day. And she and I are part of a team that help to keep that information relevant to our community and safe. And it's a great place for people to share their journey and ask questions and get a serious answer, because sometimes on some communities people will ask questions and the answers that they get are not factual or helpful in any way. So I love the Facebook community that we have. And if you're listening to the podcast and you aren't familiar with that, please encourage you to join, because we're doing some great things there. And check out the She Trucking website as well, shetrucking.com. Hey, Sheila, I see you in the chats, and we're glad you're here. If y'all have any questions for us, be sure to shoot those in the comments, and we'll try to address those as we go along. Okay, Malinda, help me pick up where we had left off. You started as a company driver. How long did you drive in that way? And then tell me a little bit about what made you start to think about doing something different.
So I started driving as a company driver, inexperienced driver, and I was lucky enough to get on what is called a regional dedicated run.
Okay.
And so I just stayed within 4 states and delivered from a distribution center to the store. I was out Tuesday through Saturday, sometimes Sunday morning, depending on the appointment times. And then I had Sunday afternoon and Monday off at home every week.
Oh, very nice.
And I I did that for 2.5 years, and I was starting to get kind of bored with it because it was the same stores, the same route, and it was just getting very redundant. But actually, I was driving probably about a year, and I was like, I think I'm going to stick with this for a while. And my husband and I started talking about, getting our own truck and everything. And I just did a lot of research. And while I was researching, every paycheck, I took a minimum of 10% out and put it into a money market fund just to start building a nest egg for, because all my research says you got to have a nest egg. You got to have, oh, ain't that the truth?
Oh,
I've
no.
been doing this for a year now. And yes, that nest egg has saved me several times.
Well, I love it that you took some time to research it. That's one of the things I really like and admire about you. I could be a little bit jump too quick and kind of learn as I go and just hop in. But I really love the path that you took, and I admire it. I think you have a lot of wisdom, Malinda. I always say that about you. I always point people your direction because I love the way that you've journeyed in your transition. Your puppy, sweet dog. So you were saving money. You didn't even really know yet what your next steps would be, but you knew that you would need some money to have some flexibility to make those choices. So I really love that. I admire that. Tell me about getting started. When you got your CDL, what kind of schooling did you do? I know that the rules changed recently. You have to have a certified school to now, and that before you started, that rule wasn't in place. How did you begin your journey toward getting your CDL and starting on? Was that company the one that did your training, or did you do something else?
I actually went through a private school because remember, I got my license to learn to drive an RV, not to become a truck driver. So I say I'm an accidental truck driver.
So what happened when you began and you decided to start on with a company? What was your path toward getting rolling with that company? How did they begin once you were hired?
I was researching several different companies to see which one I wanted to go with. And the company, I don't know if we're allowed to say what companies we did or not, but the company that I chose with, I like that their an inexperienced training program was very short, and I didn't have to team drive with another driver for months on end. I like that.
Drive. How long did you drive with somebody in the truck?
1 week.
Oh, really?
And they sat in the seat. We never did team driving. They were in the passenger seat the whole time, and that's what I liked working with them. And and I started with Schneider, and it was so funny because the first week was like just paperwork, DOT physical, all that stuff. The second week is maneuvers, parking lot maneuvers, and they have an obstacle course to go through and everything. And then you had your road test, and then you got put in the truck with the trainer for 1 week. And since I was on a dedicated account, I got to actually do my 1 week training on the account, so I wasn't like bouncing around. So it was really nice.
Yeah.
And the trainer was in the passenger seat the whole time. And so after 3 weeks, they gave me keys to my truck and said, good luck. And I was like, oh, Snyder's crazy. I can't believe they just gave me a set of keys. But they had it set up for that dedicated account. They had one dispatcher that worked only with the inexperienced drivers for the first 6 months that they were driving. And I really liked that because they were really patient. They answered my questions. I had a couple of tricky situations. I'm like, hey, I really need more training. I don't feel comfortable with this. They're like, okay, we'll set you up with more training. And, even after I was on the account for a while, I became a mentor and I started helping people. And they even sent me to a different distribution center to work one-on-one with another person for a whole week and for additional training. I mean, so the environment that I had with them was really, really good for inexperienced drivers.
So Malinda, do this for me. If there's somebody that's listening to our show, we have a lot of women that are in our community that are really just toying with the idea about getting into trucking. Hey, Tia, they're not even sure what steps to begin. And you're a researcher and you did a lot of steps to prepare. When somebody's looking towards starting with a new company, what advice would you give for a new CDL holder that's considering what are the questions that they should be asking? They don't even, they don't even know what to ask at this point in their career. What do you think is good advice for that driver?
Well, the very, very first thing that I did was I listed my priorities. Yes, we all want to get paid. We all want to make money, but some people need to be home more than other people. Some people need health benefits more than other people. So definitely before, figure out what your priorities are, and then you find the company that can fit those priorities in the sequence that you need them to be. Because some companies, all of them offer time at home, but some companies, that's a higher priority for their drivers than other companies. Whereas some companies, they got some amazing medical benefits, where some of them, they're just fly by night, and it's really hard to, get your bills covered through those benefits. Some companies will let you do time at home anywhere in the United States as long as you put in the zip code for there. And if that's your priority, so know what your priorities are, and then find the company that matches them. And it's like looking for a house. You're never going to find one that fits at 100%. Then you just figure out where you're willing to compromise a little bit, and then that's the company for you. To me, that's the best company, because they're all good and they're all bad, depending on where your priorities are at that time.
Sure. I love that advice, because one thing I see in our community, and I'll see somebody go, "Hey, who's the best company for starting out with your as a brand new driver?" And they ask that question, which is a great question, and then people will just say their company. I work with Schneider, I love this, and I work with this company, I love them. And but the question that I'm always asking when I see that is, ask them why that they like that. They might have liked it because they were home every weekend, and like you said, somebody else might have said, that's, I'd rather go out longer, or either way around. But I think asking really specific questions that meet your needs, because your family is different, your financial needs are different, even your medical needs are different. That's a great thing. I wouldn't even consider thinking about the insurance issue. Honestly, I'm in good health, and that's not a challenge for me, but that's important. And then I also love about the She Trucking community is because women will ask in there, "I'm considering these two companies. Can anybody give me some feedback about what's happened here?" There might be one person that hops on and says, "I've had a great experience there." And there'll be another person that hops on and said, "I had this issue, but it was because of this." So we have a great community of people that can give really practical feedback and can really give some sound advice for people that are new to the industry. We have women in our community that have driven for decades, and they'll say, "Be sure to ask this when you interview, be sure to do that." And, we need that. We need to help each other. So I really love that. Okay.
And another thing also is make sure you get it in writing, because if it's not in writing, they didn't say it. If it's not in writing, it didn't happen. So whatever you're promised or whatever you're told, get it in writing.
Great advice. Okay, so you were driving for a company for about a year and you started saving. So how long were you company driver before you started transitioning? And then what were you looking for next? Because I think this is helpful for drivers to think that are thinking about making a change.
So I drove with Schneider for 2.5 years on the regional dedicated account, and I already had pretty good nest eggs saved up and everything. And I'm like, before I get my truck, I need to make sure that I like over the road, because as a IC owner operator, it's easier to get loads over the road than it is to be on a dedicated account. So I talked about transferring in-house with Schneider, but for that, I would have to get a pay decrease, and I would also lose miles because I was capped out on that dedicated account payway. And so I was like, well, I'm not going to take a deduction in pay just to see if I like over the road. I mean, that's just mind-boggling. So I did some more researching, went around, looked around and everything, and my second choice that I went with was Variant. They're part of US Express, and I worked with them for a total of 9 months over the road while I went through the process of getting my truck, and I really liked them. And if I ever go back company, they will be one of my top competitors to, look at again as going back to, because I really enjoyed working with them.
Okay, I always like to hear, companies that are treating women with respect and have good training programs. What do you like about your experience there? What would make you put them back on your list?
Well, two of the top priorities for me. Number one was that it was one of the companies that you can, as long as you let them know in advance, you can put a zip code in and do time at home anywhere. And
Okay.
I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is they 100% pay for your tuition to go to college to get a degree. And they will pay all your dependents too. You can only do 2 degrees at a time. But like me and my daughter, or, if I had 10 kids, only 2 can go through at a time the whole time I work with them. So, but a full college tuition for free. I mean, you're taking bachelor's degree.
Wow.
So those are the 2 main reasons why. I mean, and they're full 48. So I got to go up to Pacific. Oh God, Pacific Northwest is absolutely stunning.
It is.
And
beautiful.
and I got to go through Utah. I mean, I got to do West Coast, which with Schneider I never get to do. So
Yeah.
I really like the variety that they offer in their transportation.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've never heard of anybody in trucking paying for college tuition. So that's amazing. So I think that if one takeaway is like really do a deep dive into the benefits that the companies are offering, because there's a big variety of benefits, and that's amazing. Okay, so tell me about the transition of getting your own truck. Did you lease to purchase, or did you pay cash, or did you finance it? What's the path? Do you mind if I ask you that? Is that too personal?
Yeah, no, not at all, not at all. So I did
Not the
lease to
finance.
purchase, and the reason why I'm the kind of girl, just kind of get your feet wet, see how it feels. That way I can jump out if I wanted to, or I can go a little bit deeper if I wanted to. So I did lease to purchase. I went through Schneider Finance, and a couple of the reasons why I chose them over other places is that, one, most importantly, I can take this truck anywhere I want to. That's on their approved list. Now, the reason why they have an approved list is not to contain you in a box, but it's to protect you, because this is their asset. They want you to pay it off. And they don't want you to go to some fly-by-night place and then, hit bankruptcy and have to turn the truck in. So that's why they have an approval list.
Okay.
But I can also do my own authority through the Schneider Finance truck. So I like having those options if I decide to go that next step.
That's great information.
Another reason why I chose to go with Schneider Finance is if, Lord forbid, I have a medical issue, or my husband has a medical issue and I have to get out of trucking. It is a binding contract. It's not a walk-away lease, but you can, based on your contract terms, can pay X amount of dollar, and you can cancel that contract, and it doesn't affect your credit score.
Very nice.
So I still have the option to, back out if I have to, but I like having that X amount of money. So if I have a bad trucking day, I'm not just going to walk away, because I still have some skin in the game. I have to pay to get out, and I like having that.
Well, I really love that. People ask me often about getting into the trucking, and when I started, I had similar thoughts. I was considering, brand new to trucking. I was like, I had options to buy an older truck, that I could pay cash for, risk of breaking down and mechanical issues and things like that. That risk to me was very heavy on my mind. I didn't know. I knew I was going to go over the road, and I wasn't sure if I would, even love this. So I like the appeal of, having a truck that I could, just get out of it quickly if I decide to leave the industry. But then I had to consider myself. I was like, but I like the reliability of being in a brand new truck that was still under warranty. That was appealing for me. So yes. I always tell people, look at the, pros and cons of both of those issues. Same for you with the lease. And, look at the, what's going to be important to you, what might come down the road, and will you be prepared for that? And what's it going to be like if something changes? Because I think, this is big money when we're talking about truck purchases, and if you can't get out of that contract, I mean, that's a bummer.
Yes,
And,
yes,
like you said, we
absolutely.
have to consider that there may be a family issue or something, or even a health issue for us drivers personally, and then what's going to happen with your financial obligation? We don't want to be ruined financially. So I always say, look at all of those things, because I really love, that's why I wanted to have you on the show, Malinda, because I really love the way that you process those decisions. I think you're really smart about the way you've done your career. You and I both took very different paths, but both were very mindful about the risk assessment and deciding what's important to us and what risks we're really taking on here in the industry.
Somebody's asking a question. Can you put a driver in the truck? Yes, you can. There are owner operators that have 3 or 4 trucks through Schneider Finance, and they have other drivers driving the trucks for them. So yes, it is possible.
Great question. I love that. And another one in there, would you recommend a lease or a buy? Now that you've done the lease purchase, any regrets on that? You wishing you made a straight up purchase, or what would you say the pros and cons of those two options for you?
Um, I think it would really depend on your financial situation on which way to go. I like. There's some days that I'm like, especially when the market's bad, or where you have a couple loads that cancel on you, and you still got to make that lease payment, or when my turbo went out at 55,000 miles, and thank
On
God
your
for
brand new
warranty.
truck. Yeah.
Yeah, thank God for warranty. And but it was down for 6 weeks, so I still had to make 6 weeks worth of lease payments.
Wow.
Um, which is why I was grateful for that nest egg that I was so encouraged to get, that I listened to, because it has saved me. Um,
Okay, Melinda,
but
I don't want to move past that just for a minute. Like, what kind of number you think? You've got, that's a pretty big expense. That's a lot of downtime on the truck. Whether you were on a lease purchase or you had purchased a truck and you were making a truck payment, that insurance payment's still coming when you're down. That even if it's covered in warranty, yours is the best case scenario. Your truck was still under warranty, but that payment's still coming. Your insurance payment's still due. All of that stuff is still happening. What kind of nest egg, what advice would you give somebody? I'm sure people ask you like they do me,
well,
how much money you
with
think they need?
with my um, money market account, I had $20,000 in there when I signed that bottom line of the
Okay.
dollar um, for the truck, and but and I'm down half of it now. That 6 weeks out, plus a couple other things that's come up, and I've already blown through $10,000 in a year,
Yeah,
and that's just from my nest egg
yeah,
because of trucking issues that came up.
sure.
So I would recommend, especially now with fuel prices, the more you can, the better off you are.
Yeah,
That's my bottom number.
yeah.
The more you can, the better off you are,
I
for
often say
sure.
when people ask me, I say a minimum of 20,000, and then it also depends, I think, on your what your personal credit situation is like. If you come into a situation where you need to borrow some money and you got some your other finances, it all makes a big
Hmm.
difference. Do you have available credit? This month on my truck, I'm having a problem with my hub seal. I've had it replaced 4 times. I'm still not sure it's fixed. I've spent over $3,000 on maintenance on the truck. I've had 4 different times the truck's been in the shop. I don't know, Lord bless me. I somehow made some money this month with so much time in the repairs. But I mean, that happens, and it's like those little things, it's all just random. And, I'm trying to get it worked out. And, but stuff happens, and that's a little minimal thing, even, it's not even a super expensive thing. So I love the way that you planned and you have a safety net. And I really admire the way that you've thought about all the things that could happen, and will you be prepared? Well, tell me, I want to talk a little bit about your journey as your personal journey in trucking. I know that you've had some health issues. Melinda, would you mind telling us a little bit about your healthcare journey, your personal health? And I know you had a DOT physical, I think, one time that kind of scared you a little bit. Would you mind telling us a little bit about your health journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was driving for, I don't know, probably about 6, 9 months. I mean, I didn't start in the best health to begin with, kind of ironic since I was in the medical field, but that's a different story. And and so the
What you preach.
stress. Yeah, stress. I mean, stress totally. I was completely burnt out, and so I was not in the best of health when I started out. And but by the time I was driving for about 9 months, you can see a picture right there. I was 220 pounds. I'm only 5 foot, so that's significant weight. And I was diagnosed with pre-diabetes, which is what I say is the diagnosis that saved me. It scared me healthy. I had an aunt that passed away at the age of 48 due to complications of diabetes. So when I heard I had pre-diabetes, I was okay. I got to figure something out.
That is very young. That's very scary. Yeah.
Yes, it is. So I tried the traditional methods that most medical providers will tell you to do, that I have told thousands of patients to do and trained them on how to do it. And
what kind of things? What'd you try?
well, the traditional, exercise more, reduce, highly processed foods, watch how many carbs you eat, and just the traditional modern medicine.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, none of it worked. Don't eat out. Cook at home. Well, hello. I'm in a truck. I can't do that. So, just the modern medicine advice I was having difficulty with in the truck. And I started looking around for like a health coach or somebody who understood the trucking lifestyle that could help me find strategies to help me. And I couldn't find any. And I talked to my husband, and I signed up for health coaching and life coaching program.
Yeah.
And so while during 2020, I believe it is, I drove 130,000 miles. I did health and life coaching school program, and I adapted all those tools that they trained us on, and I adapted them one at a time into the life of the truck. And that picture that was popped up earlier, that was that 1 year journey of 120,000, almost 130,000 miles.
Wow.
And I lost over 60 pounds, and I lost my pre-diabetes diagnosis. 3 years later, I have kept it off, and I'm still not pre-diabetic.
That's awesome news. Okay, Malinda, we got to hear some details because, many people are, are you cooking in the truck? Let me ask you that. Are you cooking food in the truck?
No, I am not. So when I started my journey, one of the first things I did was I bought a freezer that has a compressor in it, and you can plug it in either a 12 volt or 110. And I started out with just buying healthier versions of TV dinners and just cooking them that way. And now the process where I'm at now is when I go home, I usually stay out for 3 weeks, and I'm usually home for 5 days. And during those 5 days, I will cook 3 weeks worth of meals, and then I would freeze them and put them in the freezer. And so I'm having home cooked meals without having to cook on the truck.
Okay, Malinda, I know a lot of people don't like to cook on the truck, so I want to hear more about the kind of meals that you're cooking and how you're preparing, and what kind of stuff you're doing, because I know a lot of people don't like to cook on the truck, and they would like to do what you're doing as well, and they need maybe some new recipes. So we're going to take a little break. We're going to go to commercial. Hold on just a minute. Hold that.
Okay.
And we'll get to it when we get back. So let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back because I want to hear more about that.
Okay.
Listen, if anybody's interested in getting into podcasting, grab this book. Go on Amazon, grab this book. It goes with me almost everywhere. This book has like a workbook. It has places you can fill it in. It tells you how to monetize your podcast. It tells you how to set it up. It tells you about sponsorships. Listen, go on Amazon, get this book. And this is the Bible for podcasters. Listen, it was ranked #1 in podcasting books. Look right here. Best new podcasting book by Book Authority. Right there. Boom. And a little secret. Y'all, when you grab this book, I think it's page 43. There is a code on there. Listen, You can get access to her class, her course. Get her course. It's worth hundreds of dollars. But this book it's less than $50. Grab this book on Amazon. I'm telling you, I carry it everywhere. She is the best. Grab this book on Amazon.
I don't like this. There are cars everywhere.
Bobby, you're about to get on the interstate.
Oh,
so
my
slow
God.
the truck down.
Oh, God.
Slow the truck down. For real, slow the truck down. Stay over here on the left, okay? Take your high side. Go up here, okay?
I cannot believe I'm getting on the interstate.
Accelerate. Stay on this side, accelerate. Go faster. Go faster. Faster, Bobby, faster.
Crap.
Look at all this traffic.
There are cars everywhere.
And then we're gonna take it to the highest gear that you've ever been in. We're gonna take it to the 10th gear.
Now?
Now. There we go.
10th gear, baby!
DJ Tony Duck.
She gon' take care of her bitch, she truckin'. She a woman with a rig, she truckin'. She gon' take care of her kids, she truckin'. Yeah, she a boss, she do it big, she truckin'. She truckin'. She a boss, she do it big, she truckin'. She a woman with a rig, she truckin'. She truckin'.
Well, I love the story that Malinda's been telling us. Our guest today is Malinda Fox Wellington. She's one of the lead team at She Trucking Foundation and our Facebook group, and she has so much wisdom. If y'all missed it, she had just shared that she lost 60 pounds while OTR driving. She had a pre-diabetes diagnosis, and she found a way to lose some weight on the road. She's actually a certified medical coach now, so she's really an expert. Not to mention she's got all that experience in the medical field. So, Malinda, I want to hear a little bit more about the really practical ways that the changes that you made to lose the weight. You said that you tried a bunch of other stuff that didn't work for you, and you started preparing your own meals. Tia, settle down. And you started preparing that's what you do now. You prepare your own meals at home. What types of foods are you cooking? And then when you're on your downtime, tell us a little bit about that in case some people need some inspiration.
So I cook a lot of casseroles and soups and stews because those freeze very well. If there's a recipe that I like that has potatoes or noodles in it, then I just leave those out. I might replace them with cauliflower or something like that just to have that texture. But other than that, I mean, just about any recipe can be frozen. You just might have to do a little tweaks on it just to make it better. One of my favorite things to do, a lot of people don't know, is that you can freeze raw eggs. So I love to make an omelet, and what I do in a Ziploc bag, I'll put 4 eggs in there, some bacon, some ham, and some cheese, and then I'll freeze it. And then when I fix it, it's perfect, and eggs stay frozen for 6 months to a year. So that's one of my favorite recipes to do.
Wow, I love that idea. So great. Okay, this is what I think about when I hear people that do their meal prepping at home. I would be concerned I would get tired of eating the same things. Are you eating a big variety, or how are you not getting bored eating the same foods? That would be the problem for me. So in case there's other people like me that think they have to have something special every time they eat.
Well, like right now in the truck, I have a lasagna bowl, which I replaced the lasagna noodles with cabbage.
Okay.
I have stuffed bell peppers, except for I don't stuff the peppers. I just keep all the stuff.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yes.
And then I have, what else do I have? Cordon bleu casserole. I have a taco bowl. I have a fajita. I got steak and rice. There's 2 more meals that I can't think off the top of my head that I have in there. And I mean, so, every week I have a different meal. I actually have, I have like 12 different meals in the truck right now that I just rotate out, whatever. Oh, I have a pizza bowl. A couple of other things I have in there too. Yeah.
Well, I love that. It sounds like you're eating really, really good. Okay, Malinda, I have some other things. Now you said that traditional things weren't working for you, and I hear when you're talking about the recipes that you're eating, you're tweaking the carbs a little bit. Could you give some specifics, and what would you say to somebody that's been like you, that struggled to lose some weight, and they're really trying to eat right, and maybe trying to cut sugar, they're trying to trying to do low carb or trying to do zero fat, or all those different things, and they've been on that same roller coaster that you were on. What actually, I know you made some little simple tweaks, and there were some little things that worked for you that you learned along the way. Can you share some of those tips with us? Because you walk in that truck stop and you're parked for the night, and they got that big old candy aisle, and
Yes, the sweet tooth. Oh, gummy worms. Oh, I love gummy worms. So what I do, I actually found a recipe to make gummy worms. So if you're ever interested,
girl, you've been
sugar-free
holding
gummy
that
worms.
long.
Yeah, yeah.
Gummy bear recipe. You probably know
But
the cheesecake recipe, that's a healthy cheesecake hack. So I'm like, okay, please do not forget to tell our audience about a cheesecake hack, because that sounds
yes. So, but when I go into the truck stop and I see all the tempting foods that I absolutely love, I just pause for a moment and I look at what the sugar count is in them. Hold on, I'm fixing to get clotheslined. And I look to see how much sugars are in them, because sugars is my weakness, especially with my pre-diabetes diagnosis.
Yeah.
And that's the main reason why I watch what my sugar intake is.
Okay.
And so I look and see, and if it, like gummy worms is like 32 grams of sugar for 3 or 4 gummy worms. And I'm like, does this really align with my goals?
Yeah.
Or am I just wanting this because I'm stressed out or emotional or, whatever. And just that little pause and pondering, it realigns everything. And I'm like, no, I don't need it. And I'll put it back. But every once in a while, I'm like, yeah, I still want it. It might not align with my goals, but it's okay this one time. And then I'll get it then. So I don't ever tell myself, no, I can't have anything, because I found out that I binge eat. If I, because no. And then that inner rebel kick in and says, oh, well, I'm going to do it anyways. And then, you binge eat. Or at least that's the cycle for me.
Well, I remember when you first shared that with me, and that one little tip was so helpful for me, because I thought, I try to do these rigid things, and then I beat myself up because I'm not disciplined and I can't stick with something. And, I get to, it's just a bad roller coaster, and just emotionally, it just feels like crap, like I'm failing. And I like it that you give yourself permission once in a while to make a choice, and really, really very helpful. So thank you for that. You have any other tips that you would share? I mean, I know you do some coaching for people that have had similar struggles. So what types of things would you share with somebody that's coming to you as a coach, a health and wellness coach, and on their journey? Where do you begin on the path?
Well, one of the main things that I really like to emphasize on, especially when you're learning about nutrition and what to eat and how to eat, is, you hear all these gurus that says, eat this plan, eat that plan, but, not everything works for everybody, whether it's religious reasons, whether it's personal preference. So what I like to do is I like to educate. And one of the biggest things that was really wonderful for me is to actually learn proteins is what helps sustain your body. Proteins is what builds your muscles and builds all your good stuff. And proteins is what keeps you satiated. Hardly any of us get enough protein, so up your protein for sure.
Okay.
The war between fats and carbs, okay? Both of those are nothing but energy sources.
Okay.
Think of a truck and a car. Your truck is diesel. It's a slow burning fuel that can go longer distance, and it can do heavier loads, so it can take you further. That's what your fats are.
Okay.
But you want to use the healthy fats. You don't want to use the highly processed trans fats or any of those other vegetable oils and stuff like that. Because that's like getting bad diesel, and it's going to clog up your engine, and then it's not going to work anymore. But your healthy fats is good diesel fuel, and it's going to take you for that slow, steady, long haul. Now, your gas engines in our cars, we get in it, we hit that gas, and boom, we're gone, and we get what we need to do, and we're done. That's what your carbs are. Your healthy carbs are your gas. They're for those quick bursts of energy fuel sources. And so once you learn that, then you can figure out what is the right diet for you and for what your needs are. And your diet's going to change, as your needs change. So that's why it's so important to understand those three main sorry.
I'm gonna look
She's
over
got
the
a hold
here. I
Yeah,
know.
she's got a hold of me. But yeah, once you understand that, then you can figure out what the diet you need for you, for what your goals are. And that's the main thing, is knowing what your goals are and where you want, because it's just like a load. You can't plan a load if you don't know where your destination is. You can't plan your rhythm, your needs, until you know what your actual goal is. And it needs to be a specific goal, not I need to lose 10 pounds, but why do you want to lose 10 pounds? What would 10 pounds give you? So once you understand that why, and that's what we go really deep on that first session, is what is your why? So for an example, one client, her why, she wanted to lose 10 pounds. Well, why do you want to lose 10 pounds? Because I want to look good in my clothes. But why do you want to look good in your clothes? Because I want my husband to look at me again. Well, why do you want your husband to look at you again? So getting into that deeper why is what really, really works on keeping you on track.
Well, Malinda, you have a lot of experience in the medical field. You've got a lot of practical life in the truck and your own health journey. I know that you're going to be one of the hosts of the She Trucking podcast. Can you tell our audience a little bit about your show, the name of your show, and then what kind of things can they expect to hear from your episodes?
Yes, so my show is going to be Healthier, Happier Truckers. And we're going to be just giving advice, tips, strategies. I will have question and answer sessions. I will have guests, long-term truckers, on how health has affected them and how preventive care can really do a lot of good. I am planning on having experts onto the panel that can give different strategies, and just what y'all give me what you need, and I will regurgitate it to what you are asking for. We can be healthy, we can be happy. It's just finding what works for you, and it's a choice. It's a choice to find what works for you.
So those of you that are tuning into the show, if you're tuning in and watching on YouTube, you can put comments in there, because Malinda and I are having this conversation now, but she and I will both be reading the comments later and responding to you. So if you have a specific need, and if you're in the She Trucking Facebook group, you could write a message in there. I know Melinda's posted some questions in there recently asking about what kind of health issues are you facing, and she's going to be able to address those things, because our goal, and always with She Trucking, we want to equip you to be the best version of you. We want you to be happy in trucking. I care a lot about work-life balance. Melinda's passionate about health and wellness, so we want to be able to meet your needs. So when you get a chance, hop in the comments, let us know what's interesting you, because our desire is to benefit the community. We care a lot about the mission of She Trucking, and we want to help you succeed in your career. You have anything else that you'd like to share before we wrap up, Malinda? I'm really grateful for the things that you've shared with us, and any other thoughts? I'll let you make some closing remarks before we wrap up.
Oh, thanks for putting me on the spot. No, it's been a pleasure being here. I have absolutely loved She Trucking. I've been a member of them for a short time, and they are truly trying to do some wonderful work with the community. And I just I'm glad that I'm a part of it, and I just love to see where it's going to go. I truly am. It's about to blow up. I know it will, and I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. If y'all have not been to the She Trucking website, be check that out, shetrucking.com. You have an opportunity, it's a 501c3, so it's a nonprofit. So, if you care about the mission of She Trucking and you have personally benefited from, maybe you've been in the Facebook community for a couple of years, or maybe you were really active in the beginning when you were new and you're asking a bunch of questions and you've never had even thought about giving back financially so that other people can continue to benefit. We have a lot of things that we want to do for the community, and there's lots of things that we have big dreams for ways that we can help women continue to thrive in the industry. We want to create opportunities for women and just do so much more, and even networking and marketing and really just changing the culture so that it can be safer for women out there. So we're just doing a lot of great things behind the scenes, not to mention the Facebook community itself, which, we have a lot of active things that we're doing. We're giving away a lot of free content. The She Trucking community has a lot of really helpful resources on the website that can help you grow and thrive and transition into the different aspects of the industry. So y'all be sure to check that out. Well, I'm going to close out this show for today. I've been really grateful to have you, Malinda. I knew you had a lot of wisdom to offer, and I'm just so grateful for your time. And I'm looking forward to your show. I know I'm going to learn a lot. I've already learned a lot from you in just this episode and hearing your story. And I'm so grateful for the things you shared, both about your trucking career and your journey toward health. So I know you're going to help a lot of people get happier and healthier, and we're looking forward to your show. It's going to be a good one. So thanks so much for coming on, and I appreciate everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
I don't like this. There are cars everywhere.
Bobby's, you about to get on it.
Electricity is cheaper than diesel fuel, and charging overnight means you never have to stop at the diesel stations again. Maintenance costs are lower because EVs don't require oil changes or replacements of high-cost combustion engine parts. You'll also be eligible for tax incentives and grants funded by programs like HVIP.